Welcome, welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Hello, everyone. Today on the Masterpiece Lounge, we're going to be discussing overcoming fear. Overcoming fear. I am your hostess, Chrisnatha, certified life coach, author, and speaker. And I really think that this topic is important because if we're really going to really accomplish our goals this year and really get to where we are striving to reach or even beyond that, we have to deal with fear. So many times we are not making decisions, we're not taking steps, we are shying away from opportunities because we are afraid. We are afraid to succeed, we are afraid to fail. We may feel inadequate, we may feel like we don't have all the answers. And that is okay. You don't have to have all the answers, but you need to be willing, open, and ready to take a chance on yourself. All right. So those are some of the things I wanted to discuss during today's segment. We may be shying away from entering a new industry, moving further ahead in our position or in our department at work, starting that business, writing that book, letting love in our lives, right? We might be afraid. And why is that? Because we don't know what will happen. And we're afraid of being hurt. And because we're not in full control, we would rather be comfortable. But I came to encourage you today to take a chance. Take a chance on yourself and not to allow fear to run your life. So let's just discuss 5 tips to help you really overcome fear. So we're going to just discuss 5 today. All right. And so number 1 is to accept it. Number 1 is to accept it. Accept fear. Fear may come in different ways. We all get nervous. We all get afraid of things, right? Whether we share it or not. It doesn't matter how tall you are, how strong you think you are, how big you are. We all get scared. Fear has crept into our minds, into our lives many times. But what we want to accomplish in life and what we are capable of is greater than the fear that we feel. So it's all about how you deal with this fear. Okay, so number 1 is to accept it. Okay, this is how I feel. I'm afraid. This worries me. I'm not in control. I'm afraid of the outcome. Great. We're being honest with ourselves. So let's first accept the fear. Number 2 is to identify it. Number 1 was to accept it. And tip number 2 is to identify the fear. So to leverage fear into courage, we want fear to turn into courage. All right. So to leverage fear into courage, we have to be honest with ourselves every time that we are afraid. If you don't admit your fears to yourself, you can't leverage them into courage. So look for moments and points and things in your life that fear taps in, right? Things that you are afraid of. Areas of your life where fear tends to loom there, right? And I want you to start to shift your perspective, to start looking at them as opportunities to learn how to deal with this fear. So once again, number 1 is to accept fear. And number 2, identify it. Where is this coming from? What areas of my life where I feel the most afraid and not in control, right? Because that's usually what happens. We're not in control of the outcome. We don't get to really determine how this plays out for us. So we're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of being hurt. We're afraid of being vulnerable. We're afraid of not knowing. We're afraid of so many things, right? And tip number 3 is to feel it. Accept it, identify it, and now feel it. The greatest mistake that we make when we're dealing with fear is to try to think our way through fear. How many of you are guilty of this? It's okay to be honest. I am. I've tried to think my way through fear, right? Just try to see what makes sense. What makes sense for me right now, right? I would analyze what triggered fear for me, because I'm a thinker. Start projecting what might happen next. I've done that too, right? And then I already anticipate in my mind how I'm going to deal with it. But this doesn't take my fear away. It actually increases it. And why does it do that? Because there's no way to outsmart everything else, right, that's going on. So it's important that we are counterintuitive and allow ourselves to feel it and accept it and be able to articulate that to someone you trust. I'm afraid. I know I'm coming off insecure in this area, but the truth is I'm afraid. I know that it seems like I'm stuck and can't move to the next phase of my life, but the truth is I'm afraid. I know that I should go out for that position because I have all the qualifications. I am very familiar with the work. I would be a great fit, but the truth is I'm afraid. What if I don't get the promotion? What if this relationship doesn't work? And it's okay if it doesn't, but put yourself out there. Recently, I heard my pastor say something that I thought was so profound. He said that God is not looking for you to be flawless, but he is looking for you to be fearless. And I thought that was so profound, that I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to be perfect. I may have made a few mistakes in my past. All of that is okay. But if I have the courage to do something I've never done, if I have the courage to step into the unknown, if I have the courage to do it afraid, God can truly blow my mind. And that's what I want for you this year, for God to blow your mind, for your dreams to literally be your reality. And it is possible. And so I want you to allow yourself to feel fear. Once again, number one, accept it. Number two, identify it. Number three, feel it. And number four is to face it. Face it. Have you ever had one of those dreams where a dark, scary figure is chasing you? If you run away, it always gets much more terrifying, right? And if you turn around and face it, something good almost always happens. It's the same with fears in real life. Okay, so reverse the desire to run away and face your fear and move through it. I remember when I first started writing, I would write first poems and I wanted to keep them really close to my chest. Didn't want to share them with a lot of people. Then I started sharing it. All right, and people enjoyed it. Then I started writing short stories, and then I started writing in my journal, and then that eventually became a book. But then once it was time to publish it, I started thinking, wait a minute, other people are going to read my thoughts. Other people will read how I feel about certain things. I'm really bearing my soul here. Do I really want to do this? And fear crept in so much that at the last minute, I tried to pull it. But guess what? It was too late. But I'm glad that that happened because I had to face some of the very things that I've been holding on to in secrecy for such a long time. And wanting to keep that close to my chest because I was able to control things when no one knew about them, right? And so I decided it's time to release it. And whatever happens, happens. And it was the best decision I could have made because it blessed so many people. So don't be so tied to the outcome. Let it be, but face the fear. And number five is practice it. Now, that might sound extremely weird. Let me explain. So try to think about confronting fear as a skill, something you can practice and get good at, like ping pong, knitting, or anything else, right? So this will make your fear seem less dramatic and you'll feel more control. So if you have control issues and you want to be in control of things, this will be good for you. This step is super important. Practice it. Think about confronting fear as a skill. So I want you to remember that. Think about confronting your fear as a skill. Say it with me. Do it afraid. That's right. Do it afraid. Okay, so why is this important? It will make what you're fearing seem less dramatic. You'll feel more in control and you'll gain a lot of satisfaction in the process. So you don't have to run from fear. You don't have to avoid it. Face it head on. So let's quickly go over our list here, our steps. Step 1, accept it. Step 2, identify it. Step 3, feel it. Step 4, face it. And step 5, practice it. So these are just a few steps that we can take to overcome fear. And my hope and my prayer is that this truly blesses you. You can take away from this list and start to apply things immediately and start to feel more in control of the things that bring you fear, right? Because we want to kick fear's butt. And instead of fear, I know you guys heard false evidence appearing real. I want you to start saying, face everything and rise. I'm going to face everything and rise. So that's the new acronym for fear for you. Face everything and rise. You can do this. I believe in you. Go out here and kick fear's butt and make it a great day, week, and year. I am Chrisnatha DeRozier, certified life coach, author, and speaker, and your hostess. And I will be back here, same time, same place next week. And until then, be well. Take care, everyone. Be blessed.